I just started using Pinterest. And I think maybe we spoke about this previously. You know, I knew that Pinterest existed for a long time, but it just seemed like people sharing pictures of what they had for breakfast or whatever, or wedding ideas. Which is not that there's anything wrong with that. But I really found great use for it as a reference tool. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to show you my Pinterest, and what it has become for me is sort of my own personal archive. So, you know, I stockpile a lot of different stuff, you know, be it anatomy references. One of the best things that I found, let's bring it back to portraiture, trying to really understand, you know, it's one thing to work from reference, and that's good and fine, but unless you really start to understand, you know, the structure of the face and the head, you can fall into a lot of different issues, especially if the quality of the reference itself isn't great and you don't really know what's going on with the face. You can run into some issues. So what I've been using lately is reference of sculpture, a lot of 3D reference of the human skull. You know, I'd read a lot of books, and, you know, I'd seen a lot of different paintings and things for reference. But honestly, the most helpful stuff that I found recently are 3D resources, because instead of just seeing, you know, a 2D image, which is fine, you get to see things in a 3D space to really start to understand, you know, the 3D structure as these things would actually exist. One of the things that I wish Pinterest had was like subcategories, subfolders, and things like that. They don't have it right now. So
God, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel your pain, brother.
I started subdividing, you know, so here, like, I'll have a category for Asian female face reference, or a category for, you know, for black male face reference, where you can go in there and, well, there are women in here. I don't know why. It must have been the wrong one. But really, you know, have a whole wide array, because from face to face, from person to person, there's so much diversity. So, you know, I try and stockpile as much reference as possible to try and understand that.
I've got one there with my works in, from whenever I shove anything new upon Pinterest for myself. I have a fantasy reference one there, over 2,000 pins. I'd love to break that up into subcategories.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it's just I've bunged too much stuff in there. But there's female fantasy clothing references. There's, oh God, there's just too much stuff in there. I started breaking some of it down, but it's too much. I've got armor reference. I've got monster reference, which is absolutely cool. In there, if I click it and I open it, no, it seems to want to edit it. In there, I've got some absolutely great stuff. I send clients to my Pinterest page all the time, especially when I'm doing things like book covers. So when we start talking about monsters, when somebody goes, oh, I want this monster on the cover, it's like, okay, tell me about this monster. Oh, well, it looks a cross between a frog and a dodo. All right, okay, yeah, great. When they can't describe what the monster looks like, I'll send them to this folder, you know, and tell them to pick some stuff out, you know.
Is that anglerfish? Those things are terrifying looking.
Sometimes I go trawling on Pinterest and I'll be there for hours, and I'll just, you know, because and you can lose yourself for days, but it's just whatever strange and bizarre creatures I'll find, I'll just stick in this monster folder, and I've got some wonderful shots. I was going to do a book cover one time. The commission never came through in the end, but yeah, I was going to do a great commission recently with a raven. So I stuck all those in my monster folder, and that never came through. But yeah, I've got loads of animal, like scary animal stuff. I've got sci-fi references, location references, and they're all pinned to the map as well. I have a male face reference one. I've started one for male poses as well. But I just keep all my female face references.
Ooh, you have more face reference than I do. I'm gonna have to steal some.
I do want to break them up. I will follow you, and you follow me, and we'll steal each other's pins.
We'll be Pinterest buddies.
This is an absolutely great one. You should do this one as well.
Ooh.
Texture references.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
this is absolutely great. Do you know what I have done? I've bought a little macro lens for my phone, and I walk around taking photos of textures with my phone as well.
That's so cool.
I should upload them to Pinterest.
One more really good thing about Pinterest, I don't know if it's available in other web browsers, but I know Chrome has an extension or like a little add-on that you can install.
Yeah, you can,
where you can, every image that shows up on your browser then has this little icon
device
that comes up. Yeah, like a little pin it button. So on any site that you're on, you can just click the pin it button, and then like a little window comes up, and you can assign it to one of your Pinterest boards. So instead of,
I'm on Firefox, and I have that. You can download it from any browser. Yeah. Apparently, on some phones, on some Android phones, you can get it as well. I use an iPhone, and I don't have that, but I think it's naturally built into the iPhone browser. So
there is a way to do it.
I have done it on my iPhone browser before.
Yeah.
On the question of reference and backgrounds and storing things, etc., I amplify what you've just been talking about. So for me, likewise, when I see good textures, I always take a little picture with my iPhone, and then I collect sort of background folders and libraries and use them all the time on my computer and in the iPad. So for instance, the background you see here that I'm painting on, and I always prefer to paint on something with a bit of grit than pure white.
Right.
So I can work with the highlights and the shadows and have something more interesting at the end of the day. So this is actually a combination of two layers that I then drop together. And one of them was a little section of bare canvas in the Tate Britain from a Turner painting, where they've put up stuff that he probably wouldn't even have wanted them to exhibit, but one of them is an unfinished painting where there's this lovely bit of really like 150-year-old canvas. So I just took a photo of that, and that's one bit of this. And then the other bit is a bit of scraped concrete that I came across, and I've just put them as layers and dropped them. So I'm working flat here. You can see